Okay, let's do some adjusting here. Hello, boys and girls. And it's the grumpy old man broadcasting from Studio B of WDWL TV on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard. And this show is brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. And with that out of the way, I attempted to do a test with the snowball. The Blue Yeti snowball. Now, I did a brief test with it in Studio A about 2 weeks ago, and it worked perfect. I go to test it over here, nothing. So I don't know what's going on, but uh, I'll try to figure it out over the holiday because I really want to. I'd like to use it just once. I think it's kind of neat. Put it in its mounting, hang it upside down, talk into a softball. And, like I say, I did a quick brief test, but the setup in Studio A is different than the setup in Studio B. So it might be, we'll figure it out. And over the next couple of days, I have to get over in Studio A anyway and test my twin little stereo mics that I got. I had to run up to, and anybody that lives in the West Park area here is familiar with K&K Portage Meats up at Warren Village Shopping Center. Well, they carry a lunch meat that nobody else carries, and it almost looks like a larger trail bologna because it's small in size or diameter. And as soon as you say the word bologna, people are like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, crap food." This is excellent. It's a small. It almost looks like veal bologna, which you can't get anymore. I don't understand why they're not making. Nobody can tell me why they no longer make veal bologna, or what people were used to Leona. Leona bologna. Can't get it. Nobody. And basically, what I found, discovered is if K&K can't get it, nobody makes it because they will go out of their way to get a lunch meat. And, just outstanding customer service up there. When the woman handed me my lunch meat, she said, "Oh, by the way, I opened a fresh one for you." How many places are like that? I know if I go to some of the other areas, including Giant Eagle, where they actually slice lunch meat, very rarely, and I mean rarely, will they open a fresh, especially if you're getting something oddball. Like, I like pickle pimento loaf and I like olive loaf, which is not popular. So it'll sit. And Like the other day when I was in Giant Eagle, after sitting under the fluorescent lights in the meat case, after a while, it kind of gets bleached out and it looks bad. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. It just, there's a lot of times I will tell the person, uh, take the first two slices off and throw them away. I don't want them. I just don't like the look of the lunch meat. Okay. Grumpy's OCD. And what I really enjoyed about going up to K&K today was hearing everyone say Merry Christmas, not this Happy Holiday shit. Although K&K is a family-owned operation. It's a mom and pop operation. They opened in 1972. I've been going there since 1972. And I'll tell you what, they will go out of their way for a customer. Hardly anybody will do that today. But they like to keep their customers, and they have a loyal following. There are many people, mainly seniors, like the grumpy old man, that will say, "I've been coming here since you opened." And a lot of times they'll try to get them. They'll say, "When did we open?" Summer of 72. And they know for sure that you know what you're talking about because that's when they opened, summer of 1972. And I've been going there. As a matter of fact, I didn't even, I don't go to Warren Village that often. And I drove by, and just out of the corner of my eye, I saw meat market. It's like, when the hell did they put this place in? So I went around the block, and, one of the owners, I says to him, I says, "When did you open?" He said, "Last month." I've been going there ever since. Not just for lunch meat. Their products are all top notch. And like their salads are not dumped out of a container. All of their salads are made by staff. Like today, I got the macaroni salad, but it's got the big shells. I like the big shells. I've seen them make that in the back. Same thing. They have a small bakery. And for the longest time, I would order a pound and a half loaf of Italian bread, and I like the poppy seeds on top. It's because what I grew up with. That's what my grandfather liked. We'd go down to the West Side Market. We'd go back to the bakery. They always knew what he wanted, "Mr. Leonard, what do your usual?" "Yep, in the slicer." And then he would get a round loaf of pumpernickel because he liked pumpernickel bread. And that would be unsliced. He always liked to slice. A lot of times he would just tear off a chunk, especially like when we come back from the West Side Market and we'd have our little feast. He'd get pepperoni and it was always a different cheese every Saturday. And smoked whitefish. Oh my God, I haven't had smoked whitefish in ages. Although somebody told me that Dave's Supermarket has smoked whitefish. I'm going to have to go up there and check. And, we'd sit around the table and we'd be tearing and my grandmother would have a fit, you know. "Oh, you guys eat like heathens." No, we're having a good time. And it always was. I always look forward to lunch on Saturday with Grandpa. And we did that up until I was 20 years old. As soon as I got my license, I would drive down. They lived on West 29th Street, just up from the market on Chatham. I would drive down, pick him up. We'd park behind his hardware store. We'd walk to the corner across the street. We'd be right at the market. And we always would go in and get a nice big piece of smoked whitefish. We'd go back to the cheese stand, get our cheese. Nothing was sliced. We always got it in a block. A stick of pepperoni and an Italian bread and a pumpernickel and a Werner's ginger ale. He loved his Werner's ginger ale. And we'd come home and we wouldn't even have plates. We would just open and eat off the butcher paper, and my grandmother would, oh God, she'd have a fit. And I think she just enjoyed irritating us because she knew every Saturday it was going to be the same thing. And come holiday time, I always think back to the good times I had with Grandpa, because my father was, I don't even want to get into it. My grandfather was more of a father to me than my father was. My father comes, out of World War II, and he was, like a drill sergeant, and didn't hesitate to beat the shit out of me. So, Grandpa didn't like that shit. So we had our Saturdays were our good times. And then, when I was in grade school and middle school, I would spend a lot, he would pick me up and I'd spend a couple of weeks at their house. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday was market days. And we would go every market day down to the market. And during the summer, he always had some little project. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know what was old school. He had power tools. But before I could use a power tool, I had to master a hand tool. Like if we were cutting wood, you know, I had to master cutting wood with a saw. And there were times it wasn't easy because we'd have a two by four sheet of plywood, and he'd want it cut in half. And you get about halfway through that thing, your arm's about ready to fall off. And he'd make sure that you better stay on that damn line. That better be a straight cut when you get done. But once I mastered the hand tools, then we moved on to power. And, I every time I do a project, mainly electrical, because I still tinker around, making my own electrical projects. I would make switch boxes for the cars, and he taught me the proper way to solder wire. And I've got soldering guns right around the corner on my little. I got a little workshop here in the computer room outside Studio A and Studio B. There's just a little work area. But if I need to make something, like I've got to make up a plug for my light bar. It has a built-in traffic director, like you see when you come up to a construction site. The lights will blip, bop, 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 move right, or bip, 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 move left, or there'll be a warning. Well, I've got to wire up the switch box, so I've got some soldering to do while the weather is still fairly decent. But so much for my snowball mic check. This was going to be snowball mic check time, but I have to take it over to Studio A and screw around with it and see. I had it working. I don't know why it won't work over here. Maybe it's because of the small form factor computer. That could be the problem. And I like this microphone. I'm really getting attached to this Blue Yeti microphone here. That one and the other one. I forgot. I got a message from a friend of mine today, and hopefully next week he's sending me a set of headphones that he got from a professional recording studio out in California. His son works for a production company out there, and in the storage closet were like 5-6 boxes of these professional headphones, because a lot of people will come in, especially since that virus went around. People, they don't want, even if they're sanitized, so they would give them a set of headphones, and they're not cheap. They're professional studio grade headphones. And when he saw them in there, he goes, "Oh my God, my buddy would kill for a set of those." And his son walked over and pulled out a box and said, "Here, give them to him. Merry Christmas." So I've got, because these are getting bad. The padding is no longer pliable. They hurt my ears, but they work. But the ones that I'm getting are professional. And he said, "I'm not going to tell you how much they are, but they are not cheap." So Grumpy can't wait to get those. And my buddy found another mount for the Yeti, because these take a special shock mount. And going through his stuff, because like I say, he was getting rid of it. He, sent me most of the stuff he had. And he said, brand new in the box, another shock mount. So this Yeti microphone will have a mount just like this one. and I can take it out of the stand because I hate them in the stand. Plus, it's, when you've got it on the desk, in the stand, no matter how you adjust it, it's like for a little kid. Plus, I can use the arm. I've got spare arms because it seemed like everybody everybody ends up with a bunch of these for some no reason. A lot of times you buy a microphone, the arm assembly comes with it. Well, you know, right now, I've got probably half a dozen of those. I call them spit screens. It's that big round screen that goes in front of the mic so you don't hear. I've got like 6 or 7 of them. I don't care for them. I'm not doing professional recordings here where I need to worry about that. It's different if you've got an artist singing. You don't want that to ruin the song, so you put that. I don't need that. I hate the way this is white on the sides and it's got this little blank spot in the center. Although I tried once dyeing it. Oh my God. I got this generic just for men beard dye. Yeah. Never touch that shit again. I ended up with a chemical burn on my chin. And it's still to this day, and we're talking like 15 years ago, it's still sensitive. I got to watch what I do. Yeah. I had a nasty chemical burn. Took quite a while to heal. And it was one of those burns where it seeped and it oozed. You can't put a bandage on your chin, So, I would have sterilized cloths. I had to keep dabbing it. And then after a while, I had to put the medication on it. And, oh, God, never again. I don't care. It's a sign of age. What did my buddy's granddaughter called it? A sign of dignity. I don't know how dignified it is having a two-tone beard, but all right, boys and girls, I'm going to call it an evening. I'm going to test that snowball over in Studio A tomorrow. And if it works, I'll do a broadcast with it over in Studio A. It might be because this computer don't have enough juice. I don't know. I had all the settings set, but I got. Plus, it doesn't have any plugins for headphones, like all the other microphones that I have. You plug your headphones in, and you know what your audio level is. Well, I tried plugging into the computer, and I got nothing. Now the red light came on to show me that the mic was on, but I had no audio. I had to delete it because there was nothing, no voice. But with that, my microphone test failed. So instead we reminisced. I had a good time sitting here reminiscing about me and Grandpa. That was my buddy. The day he passed left a hole in my heart that still hasn't healed because that was back in the 70s and I still think of him daily. There isn't anything that doesn't kind of set me off thinking about what would a grandpa have done, you know? I look at a project or I look at something, I go, how would grandpa fix that? I wish grandpa was around to fix my microphone, but we'll figure it out. I'll go over in Studio A tomorrow and I haven't broadcasted from it. Plus, I've got to test those other microphones anyway. So, have a good evening, boys and girls. And I will talk at you tomorrow. And with that, bye bye.